Your Moon Knight episode 1 ended with a bang, introducing Moon Knight into the MCU. But where do we go from here with episode 2? Will we see Mark's point of view? Will Mr. Knight appear in the episode? Will there be even more clues that this show isn't even real? This is our Moon Knight episode 2 preview. Drop a like and sub to the channel if you cannot wait to dive deeper into this mystery of Moon Knight. What's up, it's Kendall with Normies and Nerds, and to be quite frank with you, I'm honestly surprised about how quickly episode 1 moved along. I mean, we really saw like 80% of everything that we saw in trailer footage. But with episode 1 being so fire, how does episode 2 follow that up? And while I didn't see a whole bunch of negatives out there about Moon Knight episode 1, one thing I did see was folks being upset about the lack of action coming from Mark Spector's point of view. In this episode, I don't think they'll be made any more happier. I mean, I don't think we will be seeing a lot of Mark as Moon Knight in this episode. It could be much more like it was in episode 1, as to where Stephen Grant is the one that's in control and the one running the show, taking over Mark Spector's body. However, how things will differ is that Mark, I think, will be having more conversations with Stephen through the mirror, as they have kind of already been introduced into this relationship, and as their relationship as personalities continue to grow. But I can also see Mark trying to keep Stephen from searching deeper into this mystery as what's happening when he is gone to sleep. That makes a very interesting dynamic, as Mark will learn to trust Stephen as a personality, and they'll end up growing together. So with that being said, I can see episode 2 being a real slowdown. Like, honestly, episode 1 was going about 120 miles an hour. I can see episode 2 going about a good old, say, 40 or 45. Which honestly, to me, isn't that bad of a thing. After episode 1 coming in guns blazing, I think we need to tone it down and really take a step back of what is going on here in this show. Like, episode 1 was really amazing, but at this point in the show, I think we really need to get more into the investigative tone, or the tone where we're getting a lot of clues as to what's really going on between Moon Knight, Stephen, and Khonshu, as we try to figure that out. So I expect to come out of this with a whole bunch of theories and Easter eggs and breakdowns, and folks coming out thinking that they can really start to piece together what's going on between Mark, Moon Knight, and Khonshu. Because honestly, I think all of that will be solved by episode 5. And then in episode 5, we'll really get into what is going on between Moon Knight and Harrow and whatnot. But here in this first parts, especially 2, 3, and 4, I think we'll really be getting into that investigative tone of trying to figure out and piece together this mystery here. And part of that mystery, I think, coming out of this episode, people will be starting to wonder if this show, things that are going on with Moon Knight as a hero, is actually happening in the MCU. Like, bruh, are we watching a dream of a crazy dude named Stephen Grant? Now, this is a theory that I had before the show came out, and it never really dissipated. The only thing that really kind of stopped me from diving deep into that theory was rumors that he would be teaming up with the Midnight Suns in later properties. But based on some of the footage that we've seen dropped in recent days between episode 1 and 2, it looks as if Stephen is going to be trying to prove to folks that what actually happened. Because look, at the end of episode 1, a lot of the things in the museum were ravaged. You know, you look into the bathroom and it is completely destroyed. You have the sink being thrown out of the bathroom. You have cracks in the wall. That bathroom is effed up. And you can see in some of the trailer footage that he is trying to get the man that works at the security desk to look back into what happened at that night. But it looks to me that he is not even really going to see anything that goes on. And so somehow I think this camera footage will be altered to not show anything happening throughout the museum and leading into the bathroom. Now, here's one interesting part about it, because we're dealing with magical things here, right? And sometimes when you think about things like ghosts or supernatural things, they're not technically supposed to show up on camera, right? But here we see something similar with WandaVision. While she was putting the whole town of Westview in the hex, we were able to see everything that was going on from the lens of a television wave frequency that's being sent out from the hex, showing that it is possible that magical things that happen in the MCU show up in real life. What it seems like is going to happen for Moon Knight here seems to be completely opposite. And, you know, whether or not the folks at the museum are trying to figure out what the hell happened to the bathroom, and that they only have one explanation, is that Stephen ran back there by himself and then came out and the bathroom is destroyed, or the fact that the bathroom could just have nothing wrong with it and it could just be like, bro, what in the hell are you talking about? That will play a game at Stephen's head, and it'll also make his co-workers doubt him, really look at him seriously like, bruh, are you crazy? And I guess there are ways that this can still be real if the camera footage isn't there, right? I mean, Mark Spector is a mercenary. He should be having the awareness or prowess to go back and actually alter some of that footage to either put it on a loop or what have you. But at the end of the day, something has to happen to that bathroom being destroyed, and somebody's going to be having to be held accountable for that. So whether they come for Steven or whether they just try to blame it on something else, really interested to see how the folks around Steven handle that. So yeah, I think we'll start to see more interactions with people in Mark's life that are really going to make us question whether or not this stuff is real, and are really going to start to question who is real and what their intentions are in this series. Now, the last thing I want to touch on with episode 2 is Mr. Knight. Now, I've had this theory about Mr. Knight and Stephen Grant and how those two personas could be connected, but it seems like it's being a bit confirmed by leaks out there and rumors that seem to be really kind of spot on. So if you want to avoid that type of spoilery type of thing, just get on out of here. But if you're not afraid of spoilers like I am, you can hang around in here and let's get into it. Now, I touched on this earlier, but rumors and leaks are starting to make me feel like I am correct here, that Mr. Knight is actually going to be used as a persona of Stephen Grant. I'd always thought that while Stephen would see Moon Knight and Mark Spector have their thing going on, that he would begin to make a Mr. Knight persona in order to be able to do his own thing and feel like he is contributing to this dichotomy that's going on with Khonshu. Even going into a deeper thing is to maybe he could be trying to prove to Khonshu that he can be of use and that he's someone that should be allowed to take the wheel more often. But bruh, word on the street is that Mr. Knight gets his ass beat. Like, he can't fight. He doesn't have the powers of Moon Knight, or maybe doesn't know how to use them yet. So he really gets his ass beat. And honestly, that's something that makes sense. That if Stephen Grant is running the show there, that persona should exemplify what Stephen Grant is. This is kind of in the same way that Moon Knight exemplifies the edginess and the violence that Mark Spector had as a mercenary. Down the line, if this show really is real and he does work with the Midnight Suns, I would think that Mr. Knight would be growing in his combat ability and wouldn't be getting his ass beat all the time. But I'm excited to see the possibility to see Mr. Knight show up in this episode. If that could be the possible cliffhanger here, where we see Mr. Knight pull up, where he pulls down the Mr. Knight mask for the first time and shows up in Mr. Knight, that would be cool. But also, as well as maybe a cliffhanger here, could be seeing Layla pop up for the first time, or having a conversation with Layla that will tease her coming up into episode 3. But it's about time to introduce her and bring her into the series, because I think she will give us a lot of answers, and I think there's room for that in episode 3 and 4. So bring her in and tease her out for the next week. But let me know in the comment section below, what do you think we'll see in this episode of Moon Knight? Do you think it's actually real or a fake series? Let me know in the comments. Drop a sub to the channel, and please share this video out, because we are on the grind to 500 subs. We'll see you in the next one.